O Show. This is the Big 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 O Show. This is
So here we are. I wanted to show you the backyard again because we had some trouble last time, but you know, cuttersedgepro.com does some amazing stuff, and there are the boys and the girl. They're having fun. There we go. Right, Maiden? Right, Bono? There we go. They're having fun. I'm having fun. Look at our Sylvester palm. It is beautiful. We got another one in the front yard like that. You can take your home and landscaping to the next level. And the artificial turf, look at that. Look at that. The two dinosaurs going at it, huh? Look at that. You gotta love the dinosaurs. Look at them. They like to bite each other's legs. That's what they do. They play with each other and then they bite each other and they piss each other off. It's fun. One is Bono, which is the one farther away from you, and Maiden. She's the girl right here. She's a badass. That's for sure. So anyway, see the flowers are coming out. Very nice. cuttersedgepro.com, folks. This big tree there will start budding that I'm showing you there soon. It'll have all kinds of flowers. I'll post another video and I'll show it to you. This is a backyard where everybody gets to hang out. Over there in the corner there, I put the barbecue to cook. So that way it's the farthest away from the house, you know. If I light myself on fire or somebody else, we're out in the corner away from everybody. There you go. So you're getting some flowers coming out, which is a beautiful thing. And I swear by this artificial turf, it always looks phenomenal. I don't have to cut it. I don't have to water it. And so I'm saving a lot of money, hundreds and thousands in the long run, because I'm not watering or, of course, cutting the grass. And you know, here in South Florida, we cut the grass like every 10 to 14 days.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
With more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes, Welton Rayom is committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle, slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. with next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Radio Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated. They offer free 30-day storage, full service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Good morning, boys and girls. I hope you all are hanging in there. I know it's a rough Monday because it was a rough Sunday. Yes. Just imagine the ones that paid to go to Germany. You know, those are the only things that suck about going on the road, right? It's because, you know, you might lose. And I remember going with my wife, was my girlfriend then. We went to the UM championship against Alabama in New Orleans. That was the George Teague game that he, you know, steals the ball from Lamar. And, you know, it was just a disaster of a performance by the University of Miami. And that's the risk that you take, you know, when you get in the car, plane, whatever it is, you go and, you know, it's like an extra suck to it. You know what I mean? It sucks when they lose wherever you're at home. But if you actually made the trip and you spent the money and all that stuff, man, so I feel bad for our Dolphin fans that went to Germany. The good thing is, at least, hopefully, you went some. You know, you enjoyed the country and you actually went there and did some stuff besides the game and had some fun outside of the game. So at least you can feel like, all right, I got something out of it. But the folks that paid a lot of money to go to that game, boy, I feel for you, man, because that's tough. It's tough. I've been there. We've all been. Hell, recently, I just went with a buddy of mine. We went to go see Metallica in Montreal, right? And we found out that there was a concert the day before in Quebec. So we said, hey, man, let's go the day before. We'll go see, and there was like 3 bands. I was a big fan of 2 of them at least. And we went, and it got rained out. And we didn't know it was, at that moment, we didn't look into it, that it was an outdoor facility and all that. And, we wasted a bunch of money for nothing. We got to see Quebec, but I really wouldn't have gone to just go see Quebec. You know what I mean? And I needed something else. So it was just one of those where, you got screwed. Didn't see Alter Bridge. I love Alter Bridge. So, it's one of those deals. But what are you going to do, right? It happens, and you make your commitments. And so I do feel bad for our Dolphin fans that went all the way to Germany to go witness that. I already see that there's misinformation. Alex Ruiz, thank you for tuning in from San Jose. But I already was looking at it. What is it? What was it that he put? Defense wins championships. It's why we lost to the Bills, Eagles, and Chiefs. Never thought our defense would outplay our offense. Now's the time to get hot and steamroll into the playoffs. But defense wasn't the issue yesterday. That defense won the game yesterday. They did everything to win that game. They limited. They took Kelsey out of the game, and they limited him to 14 points. So defense wasn't a problem yesterday. Defense was a problem against the Bills. Defense was a problem against the Eagles. Bad calls too, but yesterday defense did a great job, dude. Great job. That's the one side of the team that we cannot complain at all about. Was the defense. They shut out Kansas City in the second half, dude. Hopefully when we're in the moment, we're so pissed and we get caught up in the emotions. And then, as time goes on, you maybe take a little step back and you start to look at it. And, I tried to explain it yesterday that you did on defense, you did more than enough to win that game yesterday. And it's just frustrating because it's kind of the same old Dolphins. You're either a mediocre team or you're a good team. That you're good enough to beat the lesser teams, but you can't beat the elite. You know what I mean? Oh, and by the way, for some of you idiots out there, when the Bills lose or the Eagles lose to somebody, not let's say the Bengals, but to a lesser team, please don't use the Chiefs and the Eagles and the Bills and the Niners and as examples. Well, how come they're not, frauds or whatever? All those teams go to the playoffs. Like I had some silly Dolphin fan, and I get it, dude. I get you're a butthurt guy, right? Because he's like, well, they choked yesterday. And what about the Bills? And I'm like, well, the Bills own the Dolphins, dude. The Dolphins are 2-12 against Sean McDermott. They win the division all the time. They go to the playoffs all the time. They've been to the AFC Championship game. Please stop. Just because other teams do get tripped up against, lesser teams, please don't ever put the Dolphins there until they start to accomplish something. For 30 years, the Dolphins haven't accomplished what the Bills have lately. For 30 years. For 30 years, the Dolphins haven't accomplished what the Niners have accomplished lately in the last couple of years. For 30 years, the Dolphins haven't, no, for 50 years, the Dolphins haven't come close to what the Chiefs have done over the last couple of years with 3 Super Bowls and 2 wins. Okay? I mean, it's a long time. So stop doing that. I mean, you sound like a little kid, like a child, trying to find some reasoning for why your team constantly chokes in big moments. So you want to feel better about our Dolphins constantly choking in big moments because the Bills lost yesterday, or because the Eagles get slipped up by somebody and they get their first loss, or the Niners or something. Stop it already. The Dolphins are nowhere near that stratosphere. They don't win in the playoffs. They don't go deep in the playoffs. They don't constantly go to the playoffs. They don't do anything that resembles anything like the top tier teams. So I'm not exactly sure where some of you kind of get off on trying, oh, Cincinnati got tripped up by this team. How come they're not frauds? Well, that's because they actually went to a Super Bowl recently. Where do the Dolphins go? Home for the playoffs. Stop it already. Okay? The reality is our team is just good enough. That's it. That's all. They're going to have a winning record. They'll sneak into the playoffs, but they have not proven to any of us that they are ready to make any kind of an impact anywhere in the playoffs. So stop trying to compare them to the teams that constantly go to the playoffs. They even make deeper trips into the playoffs. Some of them actually get to the Super Bowl. Some of them actually win the Super Bowl. Please stop comparing this team to any of those teams until they start getting into the playoffs and start getting deep and maybe even make it to a Super Bowl or even win it. Then you can start to be in that conversation. But this whole bullshit about you trying to make yourself feel better because Cincinnati got tripped up by Carolina or something. Not that it happened, but if it happens, doesn't matter. Because they actually do things in the playoffs. They actually beat elite teams all the time. See, they beat the Bills. They beat KC all the time. What, does Miami do that? So, and Cincinnati has how many losses? 3 losses. I don't care who they lost to. Don't compare Miami to the Bills, to Cincinnati, to San Francisco, to Philadelphia. Stop doing it. You're embarrassing yourself. You're making yourself look like a pathetic little child that can't handle the truth about the Miami Dolphins. And so you're reaching for something else. Grow the hell up. How about that? How about growing up? How about being a man and a woman out there, whichever one you are, and admit to yourself, you know what, my team doesn't belong anywhere in that conversation. I need to shut the hell up. So realize that, please, because you sound stupid. Mateo Dulio, thank you for the love on the super chat. Fins will be a lot better when Achan return. That wasn't Achan part of the Bills game? Let me see. Let me go check. Did he not play in the Bills game? Is that how you're trying to make yourself feel better too, Mateo? You're going to make yourself feel, oh, everything will be all right because none of this is the truth. No. They're much better. Achan, of course. So you're the guy that said Jonathan Taylor will take him to the Super Bowl and Dalvin Cook will also be the difference maker. Is that what you did also? Is that what you do, Mateo? Just wondering. Is that what you're doing to make yourself feel better also? Let's see. Let me go check because I think Achan played in the Bills game. I'm not exactly sure. But let me go check. I might be wrong here. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he didn't play in the Bills game. Let me see. Thought he played in the Bills game. Let me look at the box score. I might be wrong here. Let me see. Devon Achane, 101 yards and 2 touchdowns. as a running back, as a receiver, 3 for 19, and they lost by 28. So, Mateo, explain to me how the arrival of a Chan, which the worst loss they had against the elite teams was with a Chan. Because the Eagles' loss and the Chiefs' loss was a lot closer compared to the Bills. But you think a Chan is going to save everything. See what I'm talking about? This is exactly what I'm talking about. You know, this is not the show to lie to yourself. Sorry. We're not doing that here, Mateo. We're not doing that. Not a goddamn thing is going to change if Tyreek Hill does not hang on to balls and does not fumble, and if you can't call plays the right way, Mike McDaniel, in key moments. A Chan has nothing to do with that, dude. Has zero to do with that. So I'm not sure what team you're watching, and I appreciate the super chat, but stop lying to yourself. Okay? Because that's what you're doing. You are lying to yourself. I'm not exactly sure why some of you do that, to make yourselves feel better or something, but stop lying to yourself. The running game doesn't save anyone in the NFL. Ask the Baltimore Ravens, who live off of running and get spanked every time they go to the playoffs. Why? Because it's a really difficult offense to prepare for during the regular season. You can't simulate it in practice. When you get to the playoffs, you got the good defenses. They say, hey, let's shut down the run because that guy over there can't beat you with his arm. And it's over. That's how it goes, my man. Running doesn't save anything anymore. Running is no longer the reason why you're going to win a championship nowadays. It's a cog. It's part of your offense, but it's about the quarterback. It's about the passing game. It's about the defense, not about running anymore. So, again, Mateo, you're the type of person that thinks that the running game is extremely important in the NFL, and it's not. It's a complementary piece. That's all it is. It will not bail you out of anything whatsoever. But that's all right. Jonathan Taylor will take you to the Super Bowl. Ricardo Cuchican, thank you for the love on the Super Chat. Remember, you guys can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. And we love our Bitcoin donations. So Bitcoin is the way, baby. Ricardo says, good morning, Big O. You speak the truth and facts. I still have hope. Hope is it's free, and the path to greatness is bad, good, great. We're in the good phase, and we'll get to the next one down the stretch in playoffs. D is coming. See you in Vegas. Let's go. I hope so. But they got to do a lot of improving before they get there. Especially, we got to get to we're going to get to a really important question today on Mike McDaniel. Something that needs to be discussed about Mike McDaniel. Leon Fresco, thank you for the love on the Super Chat. Regardless of them being an unserious team so far, they still shockingly have a decent chance of being 11-3 before the last 3 games. And that gets you what? If you can't beat the good teams, Leon, getting to the playoffs and getting embarrassed is really not what I'm looking forward to. Okay? So, again, brother, you want to lie to yourself and you want to just fill yourself up with false hope. Oh, we'll be 11-3. We'll beat a bunch of shitty teams. We'll load up our record. But then when we have to now start playing the better teams, we'll start losing. Yeah, no, I'm not. Again, it doesn't do anything for me that you beat the Giants in Carolina. I was waiting for Philadelphia. It didn't do anything to me that you beat New England. I was waiting for Kansas City. This is where I'm going to measure you. I know who you are already. You're a bully. You can beat shitty teams, but teams that can punch you in the mouth, you can't punch them back. And that's the bottom line. Big O, you have to establish a running game to keep the clock going, to keep your defense off the field. Every incomplete stops the clock, and your defense wears out by the fourth quarter. I get all of that, but it's still about the passing game. In the NFL, it's all about the passing game now. This isn't the 90s anymore, Edward. Those days are done, bro. Of course you need the running game, but it's just a complementary thing, not the main cog. You know? And can you use the running game to run out a clock? Yeah, of course. It helps out. But you still have to pass. In the end, you have to pass. That's what wins you. The quarterback and the receivers. That's what they pay now. There's a reason why they're paying receivers, they're paying corners, they're paying pass rushers, they're paying left tackles, and they're paying quarterbacks. Those are the people getting the money because that's where you either have to stop or you have to score. One of the two. They're not paying running backs. Okay? Only the Jets are morons that would pay a running back. It's just the way it is. Running game is important to a certain extent, but it's not the most important thing anymore. It's not about Emmitt Smith and Barry Sanders and Walter Payton and building around the running game and all that. It's not about that anymore. You have to be way more explosive than that. That's the reason why Baltimore shits on their pants every time they get to the playoffs. Because that, what did they have yesterday? I wrote it down. Let's see. Ravens yesterday, 298 yards rushing. Keaton Mitchell, the latest running back for them, 9 for 138. So regular season offense is what they are. True Fin fan, thank you for the love on the super chat. Rather be 10-7 with wins against real teams. Exactly. You know, pumping up your record so you haven't beaten like the real teams means nothing to me whatsoever. You know, it tells me what's going to happen. It shows that you will fail in the playoffs because you don't have what it takes. And that's a problem right now. Loaded. How did the market open up today? Let's see. Up 15 points. S&P up 4. The NASDAQ barely up a third of a point. Bitcoin continues to be super, super strong, over 35,000. Interesting how the markets are crashing and Bitcoin is climbing. It has decoupled completely in the process. The Jets, they could beat because they have no offense, but it won't be easy with that defense. That defense will be tough to beat. That is going to be a really hard game. Both of them will be hard to win for the Dolphins. That defense will not be easy, dude. You know, that's going to be a tough nut to crack. 6193 says, morning, Big O. I gave Coach 3 years to build the team. We're in year 2. I don't expect a great team in year 2, but definitely compete and beat the elite teams by year 3. Well, I think you should beat them now. I disagree with you. Shouldn't you won yesterday? Why couldn't you win yesterday? I'm not exactly sure. You could win the Eagles game too. I disagree with you. And let's talk about something that I think we need to approach at this point. And it sounds crazy, but I'm going to tell you that it's real. Mike McDaniel is underachieving. Those are the facts. He's underachieving because he doesn't know how to prepare a football team week in and week out. And on the road, he shits in his pants. He's constantly not ready, getting, like yesterday, you're down right away. And now you need a miracle second half to get back into it. And these are the things that are unacceptable for a head coach. Your team you know, I can blame specifically Tyreek Hill for this loss all by himself. Tyreek Hill lost this game all by himself. No one else to blame but Tyreek Hill. The only difference in this game was Tyreek Hill's mistake. That's it. And he had 2 monster drops in this game. But my problem with all of this is Tyreek Hill screwing it up. Connor Williams screwing it up. Tua screwing it up. Cedric Wilson screwing it up. Offensive linemen are screwing it up. Defensive players are screwing it up. We have penalties all over the place. Penalties constantly calling back plays. This team is not prepared on a consistent basis. And when they go on the road, they are a completely different team. And that's Mike McDaniel's job. What happened in Buffalo, you had to learn from it last year. You didn't learn a goddamn thing, dude. Your team continues to make the same mistakes over and over again, and you still have a problem getting in the goddamn plays. So let's be super clear here on what's going on. Mike McDaniel is not organized enough. His team is not disciplined enough. And this is why you are constantly making mistakes. Coach, players, whatever, dude. A couple of weeks ago, he won a challenge because of the incompetence of his special teams coach. Because a guy was running off the field and the referees immediately threw a flag thinking there were 12 men, and the idiot had his 11th man running off the field. So when McDaniel challenged it, well, wow, he won a challenge by incompetence. He won a challenge by his own incompetence. He kept that coach. That coach has not made a goddamn bit of difference this year. Danny Crossman had no reason to have a job here. None whatsoever. He was the worst coach on that staff last year. It was not Josh Boyer. It was Danny Crossman by miles. Everything around Mike McDaniel, there isn't discipline. So for the time being, my problem is Chris Greer and company gave them more than enough talent to win even more than 6-3, and to win games against Kansas City that he should have won yesterday. But his players were unprepared. And sure, I can lay it all on Tyreek if I want. And I should, because Tyreek Hill alone lost that game all by himself. He lost that game. But there were a slew of other mistakes that were made. And I got up, and when I'm watching these mistakes on a consistent basis, when I'm watching that you're constantly unprepared in big games on a consistent basis, when I see that you still abandon the running game when it's working on a consistent basis, I thought this was over last year, and you're still doing it this year. You've done it already several times this year, and yesterday, at the end of the game, Mostert is gouging them, and you go and outthink yourself. And the Ahmed play, I like Ahmed, but it seems lately the way you're using him, it kind of gets snuffed out right away, and you keep going back to the same stupid play. So if anything is going on here at 6-3, Mike McDaniel is an underachiever. Everything that's going on falls under Mike McDaniel. This is not me getting off his bandwagon. I like Mike McDaniel. He has shown me more than any coach, including Jimmy Johnson. So I am willing to hang in there and grow with the man, but I'm not going to give him any breaks. None. Nobody gets breaks on this show. Not a goddamn person gets breaks on this show. No one. Okay? Nobody. We call it like we see it. Mike McDaniel is the guy that is effing everything up right now. His defensive coordinator came through like a stud yesterday. He handed him everything he needed to get that win on a plate. And McDaniel and his offensive players failed miserably. And his offensive play calling, while he's a genius in designing plays, the way he structures it consistently is too inconsistent. So I don't know what's going on with Scatterbrain, but Scatterbrain, I don't care how smart he is, he has brain farts on a consistent basis. You know, it's the smart guy. It's the Robert Kraft who must be really smart in business as a billionaire, but yet you're going to go to an Asian day spa, you stupid mofo. So I don't care how smart Mike McDaniel is. He is incredibly stupid at times during a game. Because it doesn't matter how smart you are. The smartest people do stupid things. And Mike McDaniel, who's incredibly smart, smarter than Jimmy Johnson, Wanstead, Gase, all of these guys combined. He's smarter than all of these clowns that we've had for the last 25 years. And I'm throwing in Jimmy Johnson, who's a complete clown. Okay? All he did was draft a defense. He couldn't coach shit. He was a freaking loser here. 62-7 and what he did to Marino. Get the hell out of my face. Mike McDaniel's better than all these clowns we've had here for 25 years. But he's got a lot of growing up to do, and he better figure it out in the next year or two. Because this team is too talented to continue to screw it up. And that's what Mike McDaniel's doing. He is screwing it up. He outthinks himself. Anyway. Lenny Pena, I see, was first. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. I think. Let me see. Let me see. This one's more accurate. No, Steve Chapman was in first. There we go. Oh, part of the problem is not playing well away from home. These drop passes, botched snaps, hanging on to the ball are the bigger problem on the road. They're much more of a cohesive team. That's coaching. It's coaching. I don't give a shit if you're home or away. You need to get your job done, dude. You know what I mean, Steve? I'm not giving Mike McDaniel any passes anymore. Those days are done, bro. You do way too many stupid things for me to give you a pass. Way too many stupid things. And so that's my problem. As smart as you are, you do a lot of stupid shit. And that's the part that I just don't understand. Listen, let's go over the meat of the matter yesterday because I know that a lot of you out there didn't believe in Tua. So any chance you get, you want to pound on the kid. And let me tell you something. He didn't look good at the end of that game yesterday. He played well enough to win, but he did not do the right things at the end on that. I'll blame him for the snap. Okay? because even if Connor did snap it to the right, you got to be alert. You got to have better hands. You got to hang on to it. The throw to Cedric Wilson. Who did I just talk? Did I just talk about Mike McDaniel? Okay, Mike, you put a guy that is a part-time player, barely has played, you put him in the most important situation in the game. And he had to read the situation, and he failed to read the situation. So many of you, this is the reason with the Tua hate is so disgusting at times. But the beauty of the Tua hate is like at this moment right now, it shows how freaking stupid you are. Shows that a lot of you need to learn about football. Okay, that wasn't you weren't supposed to throw deep there. Tua didn't have how many deep passes were being thrown by either quarterback in this game. They didn't have time to do that. It was a hot read. It was supposed to be a back shoulder. Problem is, once you're throwing it and then you see the guy not run your route, it's if you've ever played football and you've ever played quarterback, it happens to anybody that plays quarterback. Doesn't matter if it's pickup, if it's high school, if it's Optimus, if it's college, the NFL. I don't care. This happens at every level. You call a route, and the guy then sees something different. He wants to take off, and you're throwing the out. And in the middle of it, you see he's taking off, and you're already in your motion. You can't do anything. The ball's going to come out wrong at that point. Tua took the bullet. I know some of you don't really understand football completely. Now, a lot of you don't understand football completely. Okay? That was a hot read. There was no time to go deep. He was supposed to run the route out and catch the ball and go out of bounds. That's what he was supposed to do. Cedric made the wrong read. I mean, and then, that duck he threw. The duck he threw, if you don't understand the game, I can't help you, dude. I can't help you. If you don't know football, I can't help you. None of that was on Tua. That was all on Mike McDaniel for putting the wrong person in the most important position in the game. You have to put Hill or Waddle there, bro. So they make the right read like Tua. They read it hot and then they go to the outside. But what did I tell you, right? You're going to try to use Claypool. Remember in the pregame I told you, try to use Claypool, try to use Cedric on McDuffie. They scored a touchdown on him, right? Okay, but you're trying to use the size. And that was the idea. But Cedric made the wrong read there. And once he makes, instead of going out, he turns up and you're in the middle of the motion of throwing. Yeah, it ends up coming out all effed up. And so the novice that doesn't understand it says, oh, Tua threw a duck. No, you moron. Tua was supposed to throw an out. That's the play that's called. But Tua's not going to throw Cedric Wilson under the bus. So it's up to you to be smart enough to actually decipher what really went on. And what really went on was your coach failed to put the right person in the most important moment in the game. And so it shows you that Cedric Wilson, who doesn't play much, lately he's been playing a little bit more, but he's still not there to be in that moment. You cannot trust him because he cannot read the same thing the quarterback is reading. And this happens all the time in the NFL. And it's the coach's fault because you're the one that has to make sure your player is coached up correctly to make sure they make all the right decisions. Again, I am sorry to play the old man on the lawn, but when you watch Don Shula for 30 freaking years, and his players were normally the smartest players on the field, this is why Don Shula's players are standing around a fumble, and Jimmy Johnson's dumbass Leon Lett slides in and touches the ball, and then Miami got the fumble. Dallas was the more talented team. But when it came to intelligence, don't put Jimmy Johnson in the same sentence with Don Shula. That's just the way it goes. One's a riverboat gambler, did a great job of putting together teams, but when it comes to X's and O's and decision-making, please don't ever even think that Jimmy Johnson belongs anywhere near the conversation of intelligence of Don Shula. Because Don Shula would not allow Vinny Testaverde to continue to throw interception after interception after interception in 2 straight bowl games. That's a stupid coach. So Mike McDaniel did something incredibly, lots of stupid things yesterday. And so for any of you out there trying to blame it on Tua, blame him for the missed snap. I blame him more than Connor. Even though it was to the right and Connor, it wasn't a great snap. He should have caught it. Doesn't he catch all the bottom ones? Doesn't he catch the high ones and completes the passes? No, you got to catch that one. I don't give Tua a break on that one. But I know what happened with the Cedric Wilson thing. That's not even – Tua's the last person. The intelligent person that knows football does not even come close to blaming Tua. The intelligent person says Cedric Wilson screwed up and Mike McDaniel is a dumbass for putting him in that position in the most important part of the game. Because his player clearly was not coached up right. Can't do anything about that. Sorry. But you go ahead. Knock yourselves out. Blame it on Tua. Because, I mean, it's an easy thing to do. Plus, you need it since you were already wrong about Tua. Okay? Here's the other thing that went on in this game. Now, you have to understand. Okay? Let's be honest now. Let's talk about this. Tua, 21 of 34, 193 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions. Mahomes, 20 of 30, 21 of 34, 20 of 30, kind of the same thing, 185 yards. He had 8 less yards than Tua and 2 touchdowns, correct? There weren't a lot of plays. This is the part I love, because I love the Tua haters, right? Because, I can grab Tua haters and slice, kind of like Democrats and Republicans. I get them and I slice them up with a Ginsu knife and I make them this small. When I'm done with Democrats or Republicans, I love it, dude. I've told you that many times already. Love it. Okay, so no QB was going to have big numbers against this team at all. That's just the facts. Can't do anything about that. This was a game where plays were few and far between for Mahomes and for Tua. Both defenses played really well. So what was the difference in the game? Because I love the people that pick on Tua. Oh, Tua needs to make plays. Well, didn't he hit Tyreek on a bomb? Did Tyreek not drop a bomb right through his hands? He should have caught that. No excuses. Those are points on the board. Did Tyreek not fumble and it got stripped and it went for a touchdown? Did Tyreek not drop another pass that was behind him, but he should have caught it? If I'm telling you Tua should catch the snap, I'm telling you Tyreek should have caught those 2 balls. I went back to look at that second one a couple times. I know the long one, forget about it. I would have led to points, and he should have caught that shit. Tua made the play. How come Tyreek didn't? What's the difference in the game? Tyreek Hill. There weren't a lot of plays being made in this game. Travis Kelce could not make any plays. Tyreek Hill had an opportunity to make all the plays. By the way, Mike McDaniel on that fumble. Go back and take a look at it. Durham Smythe. Let me ask you something. I don't know about you, but I'm freaking tired of watching Durham Smythe F up blocks. How many times has Durham Smythe effed up a block already this year? Did you watch that on the fumble? Trent McDuffie went right through his ass to then go force the fumble. Durham Smythe had one job and he couldn't do it. Whose job is it to make sure that Durham Smythe can do his job? Mike McDaniel. So I'm going to blame Tyreek for fumbling, but I'm also going to blame Mike McDaniel for putting Durham Smythe in a position that he can't handle, obviously. Because I am tired of watching Durham Smythe screw up blocks. And he's supposedly the blocking tight end. And yet I watch him screw up blocks all the time. So in a game that there weren't a lot of plays to be made, ask Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill had his opportunity to make an impact in this game. And he failed. He peed in his pants. After talking all week, I wish it was an Arrowhead and all that. I'm going to be your worst enemy when I play. No, dude, you were a double agent. You gave them the victory with your fumble. In a game where both quarterbacks threw 193 and 185, and they could not get anybody really off, nobody was dominating, Tyreek Hill cannot pee in his pants in the few times he touches the ball. And he did. If you want to be elite, your elite players have to play elite. Those are the facts. To blame Tua is ignorant and short-sighted, but I understand. You don't like Tua. You were wrong about Tua, so you need to ride it out now. You know what I mean? But no quarterback was going to make big plays here because both defenses came to play. As you can see, the best quarterback in the world wasn't anything impressive. They shut his ass out in the second half. His number one weapon had, 14 yards, right? I don't have it here. I didn't write it, but I think it's like 14 yards. So in a game that there weren't any plays to be made, Cedric Wilson can't run the wrong route. Tyreek can't drop the passes. Tyreek can't fumble. Just can't do that, dude. So let's not make it sound like there were tons of yards and that Mahomes threw 300 yards and that Kelce was dominating. No, man. This was a really tight game. And there were only a couple plays that made the difference in the game. And it all had to do with Tyreek Hill. None of it had to do really with Tua. But you go ahead. You go ahead and make it all about Tua without using your intelligence and really looking at what happened. The two people that are more to blame than anybody on this team, Mike freaking McDaniel and Tyreek freaking Hill. Those are your two culprits and the reasons why you lost yesterday. Those two men failed their team. That's it. It's really simple. Let's see. Frankie Fresco. Thank you for the love in the super chat. Coach McDaniel is not an underachiever. Did McDaniel miss Cedric Wilson wide open? Did McDaniels drop passes from Tua? It's easy to blame the coach. He has fault, but he's not underachieving. Are you talking about Cedric Wilson? Why you're not paying attention? Cedric Wilson had to cut the route short. Frankie. Okay? He had to cut the route short there, not go deep. He made the wrong read. He screwed up that play. Tua threw the right route. He screwed up. There was no time to wait for long balls. You just don't have time at that moment. That was a hot read. He had to cut it off, and he didn't. So that was on Cedric Wilson, not on Tua, my brother. And if Tyreek catches the ball or doesn't fumble, the game, Miami wins the game instead. So I completely disagree with you on that. Tua made the throw that would have made the difference, but he didn't. Did we get anything before, Frankie, that I missed out? Because I think I missed out on something else there.
You're good.
Oh, we're good? Okay. Hill is self-absorbed, got to throw him the ball or become a distraction. Well, I wish they would have thrown in that final play instead of using Cedric Wilson. Big O, we continue to waste time outs just like that's McDaniel, just like last year, as well as making it look like our offense has never seen a corner blitz. Yeah, it's McDaniel has a lot of cleaning up to do. He's underachieving right now. Right now, he's underachieving. Chiefs were held to less than 300 yards total offense, under 100 yards rushing, under 200 yards passing. Miami's defense was great. It was awesome. Miami's defense played well and more than well enough to win. Dude, if I tell you you're going to limit the Chiefs to 14 points, you're going to shut them out in the second half, and Kelsey's going to have 14 yards, you're going to tell me by how many points did Miami win? 10, 20 points? They kicked their ass, huh? Why is it Tua's job to overcome receivers dropping passes, fumbling the ball, and bad play calling from coach? It's not. It's not. So Tua threw the ball straight up in the air. The ball fell out of the sky. Status, my brother, I get it, my man. You don't know anything about football. You're not very smart. I get it. You're not. This is not the show for you, my man. This is not football 101. It's called a hot read. It was supposed to be a back shoulder to the outside there, and then he ended up cutting it up. That's why nobody's throwing anybody under the bus, because we know who made the wrong decision there. It was Cedric Wilson. They weren't going for bombs at that moment. They were getting their asses rushed. You had linemen that were out. You're playing with backup linemen now at this point. Do you think they're going to sit back and wait for long plays to develop? No, they were running the ball and using short passes, and that was going to be a short pass to the outside to stop the clock. Instead, Cedric ran the wrong route. But Mike is not going to throw Cedric under the bus, and Tua is certainly not going to. But the person that doesn't know anything about football will call that a wounded duck and say that was a bad pass by Tua. The person that knows nothing about football. So anybody that says that was a bad pass by Tua knows nothing about football. They don't understand what was really going on in that moment. Mountain Man Fishing, this is all McDaniel. He's the one that said, I took my team to Germany to get them ready. That's what you do when you get ready to play in the Super Bowl. It needs to stop. He needs to stop taking it out of his ass. That ball would have landed out of bounds, not stay in the air for 10 seconds and bounce. Pseudo spike, again. Listen, man, some of you out there, you really should not even open your mouths. You shouldn't chat. You shouldn't type, because you expose yourself for how stupid you are, that you don't know shit about football. I'm sorry for being really blunt here today, but I don't have time and I don't have patience for ignorance. If you've never played the game of football, and if you've never played the position of quarterback, and when you're in a throwing motion of somebody cutting a route and they go and choose to go to another route and you're already in your motion, you're already trying to either stop, alter, pass, whatever, and it's going to come out all screwed up. That's what happens when there is miscommunication and somebody does what they're not supposed to do and the quarterback is in the middle of the throwing motion. But I understand it, my brother. You've never played football. You've never really been around it. So you just play fantasy football, so you don't understand it. I'm telling you that play, if you don't look at it this way, then you are just sounding dumb. Okay? Cedric Wilson screwed up. Period. End of story. And the second you start, because it's a short pass, and as second you're in that motion and you see him cut up instead, forget it. It's you're already in the motion. You can't stop it. So it's going to come out bad. And some of you just don't understand that. Can't help you, man. Can't help you. Have you ever played a down of organized football, Big O? If not, I find it crazy you can say that to people. I have played organized football, my brother. And I can say it. And I've been covering this for 33 years. And Jonathan Lopez, I forgot more about football when I was 15 than you'll ever know, my brother. Than you'll ever know. Okay? You could get to 115 and you won't know what I know about football when I was 15, not 57. P. Lightfoot, you're totally spot on Wilson's pass. He screwed the pooch on that, but I don't see why they even used him for that. That's the two-headed monster that I'm talking about. That's Mike McDaniel. Bro, you got to put Waddle on that play. You got to put Tyreek on that play. Two people you trust, two people that are in the mix all the time, that they're in the same wavelength. You know, one receiver's been playing for Tua for many years. And then the other one, at least, has been on with them for a year and a half and pretty much now on the same page. So you put Cedric Wilson there and he screws you because he doesn't know what he's doing completely. Oh, we have all the pieces needed to win the chip. It's now about preparation and mentality now. We're not there. And that falls on Mike McDaniel. It's a young coach that's got to figure it out. Again, I'm ripping into McDaniel. I'm not quitting on him or anything like that. I am sticking with McDaniel. He's got to grow and learn from all this shit. But I'm not going to give him a break and try to just blame everybody else and say the coaches do. No. The coach is the main culprit here along with Tyreek yesterday. You can blame other things. You can blame Tua. You can blame the offensive line at times. You want to blame, other people. That's fine with me. I have no problem. They all contributed to the loss. But there is no bigger screw-ups in that game yesterday than Mike McDaniel and Tyreek Hill. It's not even close. They won that race by 50 lengths in front of everybody. When you're blaming Tua, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. Romel Valverde. I remember there was a Valverde closer in baseball. Let's hope McDaniel learns from his mistakes. I think he will. I think he'll figure it out. Frankie says, you're calling a coach an underachiever. If McDaniel gets the Dolphins back to the playoffs, tell me this. When is the last time the Dolphins made the playoffs in back-to-back seasons? Too early to blame? Frankie, you're not understanding, my brother. He's underachieving, period. He underachieved yesterday. That's it. That's just the way it goes, dude. He continues to screw up things that can be fixed. He can't get plays in on time. He still doesn't call the right game plan constantly. He still abandons the run. Yesterday, you had to keep giving it to Mostert. He is underachieving as a coach. I don't care that they're 6-3. That's it. And if he makes it to the playoffs, it's because they gave him a good enough team. I'm pretty consistent about this. And for those of you that remember, okay, do you remember, Sean, when Flo was fired, right? Everybody was saying, well, but he's won 6 in a row. Do you remember what I used to say? What was the problem that people weren't talking about? What was it? Let me see if he remembers.
He was running roughshod through the building?
Yeah, no, but besides that, they were all talking about the win streak. What did they leave out? The reason why they weren't in the playoffs was what?
We couldn't build an offense.
No, they started 0-7. Remember? Yeah. So that's all they could bring. Oh, well, the win streak. And I'm like, brother, the reason why the front office is firing his ass, it's because the front office said, we gave you more talent. You should have won more than the win streak. You should have won during the 7-game losing streak. That's why Flo got fired. That's why I told you Flo was going to get fired. Because they felt they gave him more talent to win more games. And guess what they should feel right now in the front office? We've given you enough talent to win more than 6-3. Those are the facts, man. His lack of preparation is the reason why they lose these games. You know, the Buffalo game, you didn't even show up. That's on you. You played them tight last year, even with backups and injured in the playoffs, and you go and get blown out by 28 points. It's on you, dude. I like Mike McDaniel, but I'm not giving you a break. Just because I like you doesn't mean that when you screw up, I'm going to mention that you screw up, and he's a young coach. So he's screwing up a lot. All true, Big O. And this offseason, Tua trained well. Now he needs to work on his footwork and keep his vision downfield like Marino. The bye week came in time for the Dolphins. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if the bye week or anything has anything to do with my issues with the team. I need him to be a lot sharper as a coach. Eddie Lepp says, I think McDaniel's intelligent, mature, and humble enough to fix his mistakes. Now we just have to hope the players are. Exactly. That's why I'm not giving up on McDaniel, but I'm not going to give him a break and say, oh, no, he's doing fine. No, dude, he screws up a lot. He needs to fix it. Big O, do you think Tua should have told Cedric in the huddle to run it's a hot route? So he had to, you have to know at that moment that it's kind of going to you. You know what I mean? You don't make the decision like you don't have time to wait for long developing plays. Your quarterback's feeling pressure all over the place. You got backup linemen. It should be like common sense. You know? It's a real shame, man. Let's see. And wow, and a fairy. Thank you, by the way, for the question. Christian on the super chat. Oh, Christmas Eve, Cowboys, Baltimore, NYE Bills, Week 18. Which will be flexed to Sunday night? McDaniel will get 3 more shots to correct the stage fright. Oh, I don't count Baltimore and the Cowboys. You may want to count that. What do the Baltimore Ravens and the Cowboys ever accomplish? I must have missed that. What do they do? What do the Cowboys and the Ravens ever do in the playoffs? I'm sorry. I must have missed that. Cowboys and the Ravens are just like the Dolphins. They're good teams, but they're never good enough. Lamar never does anything in the playoffs. Dak never does anything in the playoffs. They all pee in their pants every time in the playoffs. That's not a test. The only last test they have is the Bills. You know, it'll be a decent win against the Ravens and against the Cowboys, but it's not a test. Haven't they beaten the Ravens 2 years in a row now? Why is it a test? Who are the Ravens? Oh, you're hyped up about the last couple of weeks that they've won a couple of games. Yeah, I know. That usually happens every year with people. They kind of get hyped up and then they forget that they're just a regular season team and that running style just doesn't do anything in the playoffs. Yeah, it's interesting how people have short-term memories. The Ravens as a test. The Ravens were only a test for the Dolphins back in the day because they used to punch them in the mouth. But now that they can actually pass the ball, you know, the Ravens aren't nearly the threat anymore because the Ravens can't pass the ball. They're not really a passing team. So as long as you take a lead on them, they can't play the catch-up game because they don't have the passer for that. So I'm not exactly sure what you've seen from the Ravens, but I've never seen anything from the Ravens in the playoffs under Lamar Jackson. That's just me, but, you know. I hear what you're saying, but the Ravens just dominated the Seahawks. Yeah, they ran 300 yards. Big deal, dude. Who cares? Who gives a shit? What do they do in the playoffs, dude? What do they do in the playoffs? So the Bills have gone to the AFC Championship game, Walter. And they own the division, and they go to the playoffs all the time. Do the Dolphins? Do the Dolphins ever even beat the Bills? Because they're 2-12 in the last 14. Huh, Walter? I love you people that try to. How do you downplay the Bills when they own your ass, Walter? Huh, Walter? Seriously, bro. Do you know how pathetic that sounds? What are you, like 12 years old, dude? Your butt hurt or something? The Bills own your ass, dude. They go to the playoffs every year. They've even been to the AFC Championship game. So, I don't know, man. You tell me. What have the Dolphins accomplished? Don't ask me what the Bills have accomplished. They've accomplished a hell of a lot more the last few years than the Dolphins. And they own the Dolphins. Own them. Like the Dolphins are the Bills' bitch, Walter. You understand that, right? Your team is the Bills' bitch. So what have the Dolphins accomplished, my man? Before you ask, you got to have some balls as a Dolphins fan to ask what the Bills have accomplished. When the Dolphins don't accomplish anything whatsoever, Walter. The Dolphins have been basically an embarrassment of a franchise for 30 years now, my brother. What are you talking about? 30-year embarrassment. What are you talking about? I love the butthurt fan. It's amazing to me that a Dolphins fan actually tries to question the Bills. It's amazing. I get it. They don't get over the championship hump. I get that. But hell, they own the damn Dolphins. So, what happened, Dizzy? Calm down. Let's move on. Is it hurting your feelings that the Dolphins are the Bills' bitch? Is that hurting you, Dizzy? Oh man, are you that emotional about it, bro? Dizzy 911. Eric, Bills suck this year. That was a bad loss by Miami this year. Bills can't beat anyone, right? Well, they can beat the Dolphins' ass and badly, Eric. Think about that. If the Bills suck, how much more do the Dolphins suck? What are you going by, the record? Who they beaten? They didn't beat the Bills. Again, brother, you're a Dolphin fan. Don't talk about the Bills. Don't talk about the Bills. It makes you sound like you're a child. This team hasn't accomplished anything. First win on a consistent basis, then you can start talking. But meanwhile, you're nothing to the Bills. I should do a butthurt fan alert. That's a good one, Stephen Harris. Butthurt fan alert. I like that. We're going to come up with that one. Lamar has better completion percentage than Tua. I know, bro. He throws like 7-yard passes. Yeah, I get it. It's all good, bro. It's all good. When you watch the throws that Tua makes compared to Lamar, come on, man. It's a remedial offense that he runs over there. But that's all right, bro. I mean, this happens all the time, and then all the Lamar fans, then I tell them, well, what does he do? And then that's where they're doesn't do anything. Puts up a bunch of stats and then pees in his pants. I think I saw Tua come back on his ass last year, down by 21. What did Lamar do, my man? Oh, in fact, Lamar is Tua's bitch. I don't know if you know that. Who's the idiot that's trying to make Lamar a quarterback? Pseudo Spike. I'm not sure you know that, but Lamar is Tua's bitch. Yeah. Tua looks at Lamar and says, You're a kitty. You can't even pass. Go run with the little boys over there. He came back from 21, and Lamar Smith was sitting there going, I can't pass. I can only run. Just like the Bills own the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are the Bills' bitch, Lamar Jackson is Tua Tagovailoa's bitch. He owns his ass. You know why? Because the Dolphins now have a passer. So when you have a passer, that's a problem for Lamar Jackson. Anyway, stop making so much sense, Big O. The way you say bitch hurts. Well, until we start watching our team beat the Bills, they're Buffalo's bitch. And they've been Buffalo's bitch since McDermott took over. After watching the game, I agree with you, Big O. The blame is on the head coach, but what was Tua thinking at the end? Another one that doesn't know football. Are you talking about the past that had to do everything with Cedric Wilson, Rosendo? Are you also going to sound dumb too on that one? Man, some of you out there, you really need to learn football. You want to blame Tua? Blame him for holding it too long, and that pass he threw to Mostert when he had to get rid of it. That's on Tua. The bad snap by Connor wasn't bad enough. That's on Tua. Okay, because I've seen Tua catch the low ones, I've seen Tua catch the high ones, and complete the pass. So Tua not catching that bad snap, that's on Tua. The Cedric Wilson one, if you blame it on Tua, you know nothing about football. That's all I got to say. Okay? You know nothing about football. So far this year, we can't win on the road. Ravens will beat us like they did 2 years ago, Dizzy? Or no, wait a minute. Was it last year, the 21 points in Baltimore, or was it here? Yeah, it was in Baltimore. Yeah, I know, Dizzy. I get it. They'll be down by 50 in Baltimore, and they can't win. But down by 21, I mean, you know. Yeah, you're right, bro. Yeah, I mean, you have to fear a quarterback that can't pass. Yep. Big O blaming the coach, rightfully so, but only to protect his narrative of Tua. Exactly. That's it. You got to protect my narrative. Tua might need to put his hands up like Hurts. I don't know what that means. It's not an insult to strengthen my point. It's just a fact. The Heat is the Bills' bitch until further notice. Talk to me in a couple of years, and hopefully they've won several ahead of them. And then maybe we can turn that around. Not blaming Tua, either players drop passes or penalties get called and a big conversion. I blame McDaniel more than anything else, and Tyreek Hill was a major screw-up yesterday. An absolute major screw-up yesterday. Jesus. Tyreek Hill really, let's be honest, he lost that game all by himself. He choked. Absolutely choked after talking all that crap. I'm going to be your nightmare, and I wish it was in Kansas City for that atmosphere and all that. And brother, you did what most other players never do against their former team. Most everybody against their former team, you know, Antonio Pierce yesterday coached against his former team with the Raiders. And they put on, a 30-6 ass kicking, right? A 30-6 ass kicking for Antonio Pierce. The guy that won two Super Bowls maybe with the Giants. Hell of a player for the Giants. Coached against his former team, and he lit those fools up like a Christmas tree. That's normally what happens when players face their former team. They love to play well against him. Tyreek Hill is the only guy I've ever seen that against his former team absolutely choked, and choked in the biggest way possible. On the biggest stage, too, because you were the only game in town. The entire world is watching you. Europe watched you choke. And Tyreek Hill is phenomenal. He's been great here. But yesterday, that was one of the king-size choke jobs in Dolphin history. That goes right up there with Sammy Smith and the 2 fumbles against the Houston Oilers. That's right there with Kenny Stills dropping a wide open bomb downfield against the Seattle Seahawks. Right? Let's see. Tyreek Hill's choking ass moment is definitely top 10 in the history of Dolphins. No doubt about it. And those of you that were old enough to live through Sammy Smith and Sammy sucks from the stands, felt bad for him. I didn't do that, by the way. I was in the stands that day. I didn't chant the Sammy sucks. I held back. I felt bad for the guy. He was terrible because he was a choker. God, that guy was he was a terrible pick. But Tyreek Hill put together one of the top choking jobs of all time in Dolphin history yesterday. Okay? The game was lost by 7. He gave up 7. He also gave up a bomb that could have led to more points. Probably would have led to more points. At least a field goal, which again would have been the difference in the game. And then he dropped another one that I'm going to say he should have caught it. A little behind him, but he should have caught it. On a day where you need to catch everything, you need to show them what they missed. You need to, and apparently they did offer him a lot of money to stay there. Okay, because that story also came out that, wasn't as much as Miami was offering, but it was pretty damn good. They actually made a really sizable offer to him. And so you want to make them pay. You want to make them regret. Well, they went and won a Super Bowl and beat your ass. So Tyreek Hill, he might have 2,000 yards this season. They might go to the playoffs. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they make a deep run in the playoffs. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. I know this. Tyreek Hill will also own one of the biggest choke jobs in Dolphin history. He's right up there with Sammy Smith. It's bigger than Kenny Stills because, the season actually is mattering. Amazing. Tyreek Hill. My man. You choked in a big-time way. Mr. Spock says, as great as T. Hill is, the Chiefs did win a Super Bowl without him on the roster. T. Hill let his game on the field do the talking. If McDaniel wants to feature him tons, he needs to show up. Exactly. So, it's November. We have time to beat the good teams. Yeah. How long are you going to wait, bro? It's November of what, 2023? What'd you say in November of 21? Or November of 20? Or November of 18? Or November of 15? Or November of 12? Or November of 2? Or November of 99? I'm sorry, what were you saying? Because I'm in Groundhog Day. I don't know about you, but it's Groundhog Day for me as a Dolphins fan. Can't win big games, choking big moments. You know what I mean? Nothing's changed. I'm not sure what you're waiting for, but, it would be nice, but it's the same shit we've been saying for 30 years. Oh, there's plenty of time. Oh, we'll get him next year. Oh, the coach will learn. Oh, this, that. I mean, it's an old story, bro. It's an old story. So I don't know about this. Oh, it'll happen. And then this, that, figure it out already. I'm tired of making excuses for people to figure it out. Let's see. 2 separate drafts. Sammy Smith was drafted in 89. Emmitt Smith drafted in 90. Okay, I'm not sure why we're talking that. I guess that's another conversation. He may have choked, but he has also made some huge plays that have helped win games too. Yeah, but Shelby, but that doesn't help for yesterday. That's the game, your franchise, your fan base, the coach, the quarterback, the front office. Everybody needed that game, and you failed once again. You need that Buffalo game. You need that Philly game. You need that KC game, and you can't come up with those kind of wins. So what are you going to go do? Beat another scrub? That doesn't make me feel better, dude. And all the stuff he's done, it's great. But it doesn't mean shit if you don't show up in the biggest moments. The home field advantage was on the line there. That puts you in the mix right there. You're not going to be in the mix now. Because why would you be? What have you proven that you can win consistently against the elite teams? Or the Bills? Will Sanchez said, I said to my brother that this team until now has earned marks of the early 90s Dolphins teams, the ability to beat lesser opponents only to be exposed by the better teams in crucial moments in games. Exactly. Big O, 30 years of the defense carrying us, can't take it anymore. Paul in Connecticut. Yeah. No, you're right. And yesterday, it's a good point. Like, it's always been the defense carrying lately for like the last 30 years. And yesterday, you have this great offense and they don't come through. That does like absolutely suck, dude. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Steve M says, morning, O. Omar Kelly is going around saying it's crowd noise that's screwing with the Finns offense. Thoughts? Nah, that's silly. Love Omar, but he always comes up with crazy shit. No, it has nothing to do with that. What you're not winning at home or on the road against good teams constantly. So to me, I don't go for any of that, dude. This is not a well-coached team yet. And Mike McDaniel has to get better, Steve. I got to blame Mike McDaniel here more than anything. It's constantly, dude. You are not ready for these moments. And you should be able to practice with noise, which they do. You went early to get acclimated. You've done everything. A positive reinforcement. You do all this bullshit, and you still can't get it done. Hateful Steve sends in another one, says, doesn't think Tua is the answer, but even Hateful Steve knows yesterday wasn't all his fault. Thank you, Hateful Steve. Of course not. Come on, man. And you're right. You're not a Tua guy. Okay. But the non-Tua people, this is their opportunity to jam on the kid and go ahead. But if anything, it's on Tyreek more than anything else and the coach. That's the way I look at it. Those guys, they screwed up in a major, major way. Let's see what we got. Polygon up 3% over 71 cents. Nice job. Star Atlas up 5%. That's one of my long shots. Chainlink up almost 6%. It's up to $12.60. Boy, for those of us that took advantage of the dip, Chainlink was down to $6. So we have doubled a lot of our investment right now. Avalanche is approaching $13. It is up $4.34. Decentraland, I'm a big Mana guy. It's up 5%. This thing went all the way down to 27 cents. It is up to 42 cents right now. It is exploding, baby. Bitcoin still up over 35,000. And just to kind of give you a little Bitcoin and crypto love here and show you a little something. Japan and China now are getting into the ETFs. Okay. And in order to run these ETFs, you have to fund them with Bitcoin. So you have to buy the Bitcoin and then put it in your treasury, and then that's how your customers then take part in the ETF, whether they're investing or they're shorting the market or longing it or whatever, that they think it's going to go up or they're going to go down, all of that stuff for the people that invest in the ETF, right? But the only way you can run the ETF is by going and physically purchasing Bitcoin. Okay? 85% of Bitcoin has not moved in 3 months. 75% of Bitcoin has not moved in a year. Okay? The exchanges, every day, they have less and less Bitcoin because more people are buying than they're producing the Bitcoin. And in April, half of the amount of Bitcoin that is produced will be available only. So the demand, so less will be produced. The demand is only going to go up. So once all the ETFs, and I think what Japan and China is seeing is that the United States is about to approve like 7, 8, or 10 of these. So all of these companies, Grayscale doesn't have to do it because they already have 680,000 Bitcoins. So they already have their fund ready to go. But BlackRock, ARK Investments, T. Rowe Price, Fidelity, all these huge investment companies are going to now, they have to wait for the ETF to be purchased, and then legally they can go in and start buying Bitcoin. BlackRock is already buying it. So now you're going to add Japan and China. Can you pull up the picture that I showed you there? I sent you. So this is the current ETFs that are right now in the market. And Canada right now internationally is one of the leaders, and it has over 2 million. Okay? What is it? No, 2 point. Yeah. And Germany, by the way, is at 8 million, right? 800 and about 8 million, a little over 8 million. And then it goes down all the way, Brazil and Australia, Cayman Islands, all that. These aren't the major players, okay? And now when China and Japan get in, because we're talking about billions of people involved, and then the United States gets in, okay, which is another 330 million people in this country. Not that everybody is involved in it, but all these companies that are involved in all these countries and all these investors, okay, which will be in the millions, they will now get into the ETF because it's a lot safer. You don't need to know about Bitcoin, even though it's not as smart because you don't really own the Bitcoin. You're kind of just gambling on it. But those of us that are smart and we actually own our own Bitcoin, which, by the way, if you're investing, folks, if you're investing where you think somebody has your Bitcoin, I would never do that. Unless I physically have it myself, I would not trust anybody else with it. And then that they could always just give you the money and keep the Bitcoin. And so be very careful with that, because then you won't have the product that is actually going to go up perpetually for the rest of your life. And that's the difference. Okay. So right now it's at 35,000. We've been talking about it when it was at 16. I was telling you to get in at 19, at 20, at 24, at 25, at 28, at 30, it's 35. And when these ETFs go, it is going to explode to the point that nobody, the average person, will never be able to afford to gather up enough to get to one Bitcoin. Okay? So just saying, not a financial advisor, just a guy that loves crypto. But I, as not a financial advisor, I have not been wrong whatsoever about all of this. If you've been following it, and I've been giving you a 2-year head start on this, okay? So it's all up to you all out there. You could have had Chainlink at $6. It's at $12. You could have had Polygon at 40-some cents. It's at 71 cents now. You could have had Ethereum at 900, 1,000, 1,100. It's at 1,900 now. You could have had Bitcoin down at 16, 18, 19,000. It's at 35 now. I have not been wrong one bit about any of this stuff. Been telling you exactly what's going to happen, And so far, it's gone to a T. Okay? And the ETF stuff is something I didn't count on happening this soon, which is now going to fast track this thing, even before the halving. Okay? There's your crypto minute for you. Romel Valverde, thank you. Same old crap, just a different coach. Yes, sir. Miguel, Durham Smythe whipped big on that block that led to the T. Hill tackle fumble. Yep. And guess who deserves the blame for that? Guess who? Mike McDaniel. He continues to put him in that same position over and over again. Durham Smythe misses blocks all the time. I'm tired of watching Durham Smythe miss blocks. And he's supposed to be this blocking tight end. So I've watched him whiff on blocks all throughout the year. So you're the coach. You continue to put him in that important position. You put Cedric Wilson in such an important position. That's on the coach. If they don't come through and they make mistakes, that's on you, dude, because you didn't train them properly. That's on you. That's it. I thought Connor played a hell of a game. That one snap, I'm not even blaming him for it. I blame Tua for that one. And I'm a Tua guy. But I've seen Tua catch way worse ones. And you need to catch it, bro. Sorry. That's on you. You know? But the loss, it's not even close to Tua. Has nothing to do with Tua. You keep saying the Bills on your ass are got a bath now, and I forgot you've got every week to week. You keep saying the Bills are on your ass. Are you got a bath, and now I forgot you've got every. No, sir. I bathe only once a month. Yeah, once a month, I think. And today's the 6th. What day is it for me? Like the 18th or 20th or something every month? Think something like that. Yeah, I think it's like something there. I have an alarm goes off. So you got me wrong, bro. I didn't just take a bath or week to week. It's once a month for me, bro. I like to save water. I'm about saving the environment. And taking a bath once a month. That's kind of the way it goes. That's the proper way. Also, what's up with constant outside running with a chain or a Chan? Well, he hasn't been running outside for weeks. So, and by the way, everybody knows it's coming. How come he's averaging 11 yards a carry? Big O.
Oh,
Hill.
that's Ahmed, not a Chan.
Oh, Ahmed. Oh, God, yeah, the Ahmed thing. That play has been. I don't know why he keeps doing it. That's on him too. The Ahmed one, yeah, you're right. Ahmed is bad. I like Ahmed, but this thing has turned out to be really bad for him lately. It has not worked out. Big O Hill to me gets most of the blame. Those passes he dropped were passes called by the coach. If we believe to be about a second half adjustment, well, then he outcoached Reed in the second half. Well, the defense did. That's for sure. But at the end, he screwed up. Phil Dunkley says, what up, Big O? Have the Finns been found out 0-3 against playoff teams and we keep beating ourselves? Well, you need to rewind and I explain all of that. And I don't blame Tua. I blame more Tyreek and Mike McDaniel than anything else. Let's get to our 3A Graphics sports calendar. Why don't we? Okay. Let's do that. And call my guy, Alan Blanco, 786-618-1443. Listen, they do all kinds of custom printing and embroidery. I don't care if it's hats or shirts or pens, magnets, calendars, you name it, whatever it is you need for your business, your club, your fantasy league. Maybe you're all getting together in some picnic or some marathon or something, and you all want to wear some T-shirts, or you're all going to Disney World and you're all going as a group and you need some T-shirts printed or something like that. 3A Graphics can help you. Call my guy, Alan Blanco. They're in Hialeah, 618-1443. Tonight, 8:15, Chargers and the Jets. The Chargers are favored by 3.5. The over and under is 39.5. I got to tell you something. I might take the Jets in this one because I don't think this guy, and I'm talking about Herbert, I think he's going to fold on the pressure of this defense. This defense is pretty damn good. It's going to be tough for Miami to win against the Jets. I don't think the offense will do much against Miami at all, but man, that Jets defense, you got to respect that thing. Tonight at 7:30, NBA TV, Lakers at the Heat. The Heat are favored by 1. The over and under is 222.5. Lakers are minus 102. The Heat is minus 118. I don't know how I would still go Lakers in this game if I am a betting man. Tonight, 7 o'clock, Panthers and the Blue Jackets. Panthers favored by 1.5. The over and under 6.5. Blue Jackets are plus 195. The Panthers are minus 238. Saturday, the slaughter starts at 3:30. Miami visiting FSU. FSU's 9-0, 7-0 in the ACC. Miami is 6-3, 2-3 in the ACC. FSU is favored by 14.5 points. And the over and under is 50.5. Hide the women and children. This is a rated R game. Not good. Not good. This is one that you don't want. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get really ugly. So that is your 3A Graphics sports calendar. All right, we talked about the Tua throw to Cedric. We explained that for the people that are clearly misunderstanding what went on there. We talked about McDaniel underachieving. We talked about how the reality of that game, there weren't a lot of offensive plays to be made by either team. That's why both quarterbacks had very mediocre stats, nothing impressive. There are very few plays to be made, and that's why Tyreek stands out in a big-time way, because individually he ended up losing that game pretty much by himself. The Marlins have hired the Rays GM, Peter Bendix, to run baseball operations. So Sherman said, we need somebody that knows how to work with a budget. Let's go get somebody with the Rays. Because they do a great job, but they don't spend money either. So, interesting. Interesting.
Oh. Ayo.
Yes, sir.
Got a question for you.
What you got?
Is this a step up, a very small step up from the Rays? Do the Marlins spend more than the Rays, do you think?
Barely, but that's because they have more players that are a little bit, more ahead, and so they had to pay a couple guys, but not by much.
I just wondered what this guy how he got talked into this. Like, I mean, I get it's the Rays, so you're basically down at the bottom, but is this really advancing?
Well, because I think he was GM and now he's president, right?
President. Okay. So yeah,
it's more. Right. So there, Sherman has to pay him more money. But yeah, it's just, until I actually see that you're spending. I can't believe anything that the Marlins do, bro. It's sad, dude. And I love baseball. I know you guys don't love baseball. I know you guys don't. I don't even try to talk about it that much because it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And I've had Marlins segments on here. It's just not worth it. That people don't care. They're just tired of the underachieving from the Marlins. They're tired of the deceiving from the Marlins. So, what are you going to do? Let me, before I go around the NFL, let me go through a little music and entertainment because we got some stuff on the NFL side I want to talk about. But before we do that, let's get to a little music and entertainment. First of all, let's go off with the birthdays today. Okay. Let's see. Sal Vulcano. He's one of those guys from that show in Impractical Jokers. He is 47 years old. He's got it like a comedian. That's what they got it. Emma Stone, actress, is 35. Ethan Hawke, actor, 53. Lamar Odom, 44. Kelly Rutherford, she is 55. Sally Field, she is 77. So underrated, Sally Field, back in the day. Great bootay. Let's see. I thought she was deadly cute back in the day. Rebecca Romijn, no more Stamos. She is 51. And Thandi Newton, the movie actress, she is 51. Those are your birthdays today. Let's go with a little music history. Today on November 6th in 1975, the Sex Pistols made their performance debut at an art school in London. 10 minutes into the gig, the school's social programmer pulled the plug on the band's amps. You bring the Sex Pistols in for your school gig. They didn't know at that moment, obviously, because the Sex Pistols weren't the Sex Pistols yet. In 93, Meatloaf started a 5-week run at the number one spot on the singles charts with I'll Do Anything for Love, But I Won't Do That. In 65, the Rolling Stones started a 2-week run at the number one spot on the singles charts with Get Off of My Cloud after knocking the Beatles yesterday to 2 spots. That's big. In 70, on this date, Aerosmith performed for the first time ever with a show at Mendon, Massachusetts, Nipmuc Regional High School. In 95, on this date, Queen released Made in Heaven, their first studio album since the death of Freddie Mercury. The set featured vocals and piano parts Freddie recorded before he passed away. In 76, on this date, the Steve Miller Band had the number one song in the country with Rockin' Me. Great song. In 93, on this date, Pearl Jam had the number one album in the country with their second effort, Versus, sold over 950,000 copies, marking it the highest one-week record sales in history. And in 2003, on this date, Metallica kicked off their 137-date Madly in Anger with the World Tour in Tokyo, Japan. It would go on to be the 4th highest grossing tour of 2004. All right. A couple of other news. This is a big week for me personally. A lot of music. First of all, tonight, Graham Nash, Crosby, Stills, Nash Young, he's going to have 60 years of song and stories tonight at the Parker Playhouse at 7:30. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be with the wife at the Revolution Live. Hopefully, they'll have the AC on. We're going to go see the Interrupters, my favorite ska band in the world. On Thursday, if you want to see William Shatner, Captain Kirk is in town at the Broward Center at 7 o'clock. Bill Burr is also here Thursday at Hard Rock Live at 8 o'clock. He is funny as hell. Friday, the 10th, we have 2 concerts. 7:30, The Fix at the Culture Room. I'll be there. And then the Ocean Blue, which I really wanted to go to, but it's on the same day. It's at Club Space on Friday, November 10th. So if you're an Ocean Blue fan, you can go to Club Space. I'll be at the Culture Room on Friday with the wife also again, because she likes The Fix. And then Saturday, 8 o'clock at the Broward Center is Christopher Cross. How about that? And Saturday at 8 o'clock, Parker Playhouse, John Waite. So if you want to do a little Missing You, little Babies music, John Waite, you can catch him Saturday, 8 o'clock at Parker Playhouse. And Sunday at 8 o'clock, UM's own, that's right, the former Kane, Bruce Hornsby. He is at the Parker Playhouse Sunday. That's a lot of music coming to town this week, dude. And comedy, by the way, because got to mention Bill Burr. I don't know. Would you call Shatner comedy, or that's kind of like, I don't know. Daniel Jones has torn his ACL and is out for the rest of the season. Damn, dude. And I really thought the Giants were going to win the Super Bowl. Now without Daniel Jones, God, it's over for them. I feel real bad for Giants fans. I mean, you guys were right there on the cusp of winning a Super Bowl with Daniel Jones. Gotta tell you, man. So let's go around the NFL. Let's talk a little NFL stuff here from yesterday, because a lot of stuff went on. First of all, I think we're all Commanders fans here, right? So the Commanders beat the Patriots yesterday. That was so awesome, 20-17. I really loved it. Patriots fell to 2-7, and I'm just I really, and it's not a Dolphins thing. I just take joy in watching Bill Belichick lose. Has nothing to do. Like some guy told me this morning, well, hey, the Bills lost too. And I'm like, yo, dude, that doesn't make me feel better. I don't care that the Bills lost. It hurts me that the Dolphins lost. The Bills don't control my fate. It's the Dolphins that control my fate. If they win, they control and they do whatever they want. But they can't. So that's what hurts me. You know what I mean? And so watching the Patriots lose, that's fun, because I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him beat what's it called, Shula's record. I don't think he deserves to beat Shula's record. And he is proving over and over again that he is kind of a fraud. Hell of a defensive coordinator, not really a great head coach. I get it. He's got the 6 titles, so he'll have that, but he ain't getting the GOAT in my book. You haven't done anything with anybody else. That tells me you're not the GOAT. You got to be able to win with other people, dude. And he can't. So I am enjoying this. The Browns, they massaged a beautiful 27-0 win. They played against a guy by the name of Clayton Tune at quarterback. 11 of 20 for 58 yards, 2 interceptions. They are 1-8. They are going to lock in the number 1 pick. And boy, this is going to be interesting, right? Because you're going to have Caleb. You're going to draft Caleb. You're going to draft a quarterback. And then what do you do with the little water bug? That's going to be really interesting. By the way, the massage therapist went 19 of 30 for 219 and 2 touchdowns, Deshaun Watson. So, but Arizona, boy, going to lock up that number 1 pick. The Ravens ran all over the Seahawks, physical, outrushed them, 298 yards. Keaton Mitchell, 9 for 138 and a touchdown. The regular season offense that constantly fails in the postseason. The Texans, now that was a fun game. When you were done with the Dolphins game and I was done with post game, I then watched the rest of the games. They weren't that entertaining. Was it just me, or was I just in a bad mood for the Dolphins? But I wasn't that entertained, but I did enjoy the Texans Bucks, because this CJ Stroud kid, man, that kid, that's impressive. 30 of 42, 470 yards, 5 touchdowns. I know the Bucks aren't anything special, but CJ Stroud is special. That was awesome. And then the Dare Agunbowale, the running back, he's kicking a 29-yard field goal. That was great. That was awesome. What do you got for me, Sean?
No, I was going to say, I think the story of the running back kicking a field goal gets buried because of CJ Stroud's great game.
I know.
The quad, the kicker tore his quad. Like, what are you going to do?
And the guy was like, yeah, man, I can do this, and it was great. It was so awesome to see that moment. That was cool. And CJ Stroud he is the real freaking deal. That's why I said it then, and I'll continue to say it. I would have taken Stroud over Young, and it's definitely looked like that. I don't know how you passed up on Stroud. I don't know what it is. I think it might be the Haskins and Fields thing that they didn't translate, and then they're worried about it. Was he a system guy or something? But I was a Stroud guy, and that's impressive, dude. That's impressive. I gotta say. Raiders defeat the Giants 30-6. And man, did you see the stories coming out of the Las Vegas Raiders? How they had that team meeting, and what's it called? Antonio Pierce was addressing the team. McDaniel had him address the team, and he was talking about, being underdogs and all this, that, and he was talking about the Giants up against the Patriots and how, we went after them and shut them down, all that kind of stuff. And then McDaniel actually had the balls in the middle of all of that to tell, this guy not to badmouth the Patriots. And then that ended up rubbing players the wrong way. Because at that moment, the word we love to use on this show is compartmentalize. At that moment, you're not a Patriot anymore, bro. You're a Raider. So you're not there to compliment anybody but the Raiders. That's why if you work for the Browns or the Raiders or the Texans or the Dolphins or the Bucks, I expect you're being paid by them, dude. I expect you to back them up. And so that caused all kinds of problems. And then Mark Davis met with players, and they all were ripping into McDaniel. And so then they got rid of his sorry ass. And I loved Antonio Pierce's speech, how he talked about how he grew up as a Raiders fan, how he bleeds these colors, and how this means to him, and the kind of swag, and how he wants people to play with, and confidence, and to go out there and let it all out. And 30-6 with Aiden O'Connell. And Aiden O'Connell, you know what he did? He didn't screw it up yesterday. He went 16 of 25 for 209. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Okay? And by the way, he was facing a quarterback by the name of Tommy DeVito. Well, because, of course, the other quarterback got injured too. But, and he had an interception and 2 touchdowns. And this just shows you why we also need to fire Belichick, because he has polluted the NFL with these rejects of his, like Josh McDaniel. You know what I'm saying? Joe Judge, Brian Flores, all these clowns, Matt Patricia, that he has sent out, and they have all flopped. It didn't matter who came from that tree. They all flopped. Okay? And it's one, I don't want him to break the Shula record. 2, we ended up with one of his rejects, like other teams have had to experience it, right? It's over, bro. Please, let's move on. I hope Robert Kraft at the end of the year, which a lot of people are already saying that they are going to part ways at the end of the year. And then they're talking about the Washington Redskins being interested, which, again, I'm not exactly sure why any team would want to grab Bill Belichick now, and you're going to have to give him the power, and he's terrible with the power. Bad move. But bad teams will be bad teams, and they'll do things like that. Eagles over the Cowboys 28-3. Eagles improved to 8-1. They just get it done. And then the Bengals last night over the Bills. Bills made a nice charge at the end there, but they could not keep the Bengals off the field, and the Bengals were able to run the clock out and get the first downs. Burrow was awesome, like always. 31 of 44, 348, and 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen had a touchdown and an interception. 26 of 38, 258. They played him tough, but not good enough yesterday. It does help the Dolphins at least, because it keeps the Dolphins in first place. Gordon says, I realized another good coach from the Shula tree, Chuck Noll. He was Shula's DC with Baltimore. I heard he had some success. But wasn't Ground Chuck also part of the AFL? Yeah. I think Ground Chuck was in the AFL too, right? Yeah. I think so. I want to say. And Ground Chuck was in Seattle, if I remember that. Chuck Knox was in Seattle. I remember that. What was the name of that running back in those days? God, I'm trying to remember. Warner, Kurt Warner. Right. That's and it was that Kurt? That Kurt was with a C, not like the quarterback, I think, if I remember correctly. But it was Kurt Warner. Do you remember? Good running back for the Seattle Seahawks back. That was the Steve Largent and all that kind of stuff back in those days. Chuck Knox was there, I think, if I'm correct. I think that's how it went. If my memory serves me right on that one. The very thing that Tua is great at is what hurt him against the elite. Other teams can also anticipate. It's called film. Cedric Wilson not anticipating that he was supposed to cut the route short. Has nothing to do with Tua. And Tua threw a beautiful bomb to Tyreek, which was the difference in the game, and he didn't catch it. And he threw another one that he didn't catch. That has nothing to do with anticipation or anything like that. Yesterday, there were only a few plays to be made. You weren't making a lot of plays, whether you're Kansas City or Miami. Tyreek could not afford to screw up so many times in that game. Did anybody on the Chiefs side have 2 drops and a fumble that turned into a touchdown? No. So, True Fin fan, we can't do that, bro. We can't go with the anticipatory stuff. It has nothing to do with what happened yesterday. Yesterday, it was a game where the defenses played their asses off. You weren't going to make a lot of plays. The few that were available, you can't screw them up. The few that were available, the Dolphins screwed them up. That's it, dude. Both guys passed for 190 yards. Both guys couldn't do any. They shut Mahomes out the entire second half. Nobody limits Travis Kelce to 14 yards. Nobody. And the defense for the Dolphins for the first time this year was elite yesterday. They played an elite game. It had nothing to do with anticipatory stuff. It had to do with, it was a game that there were only a couple of plays to be made. And Kansas City did not screw up in the few they had the opportunity to make. Miami screwed up a ton. And that's it. That's all. So I'm not even going in that direction, my brother. Did you see the Raiders locker room after? Yeah, smoking cigars and all that. Yeah. Dude, Alex, what are you, 10 years old, bro? It's the Raiders, bro. The Raiders are supposed to be smoking cigars in the locker room. It's the Raiders. That's the way. That's the Raider way of life, my friend. If the Raiders weren't doing crazy shit, if they weren't committing more fouls than everybody else, if their fans weren't maniacs, then it wouldn't be the Raiders. They're supposed to be smoking cigars. They're not, what was it? Clearly the convicts are now running the asylum. And it's the inmates running the asylum, by the way. That's how the saying goes, my man. Okay? But that's the Raiders. I don't have a problem with that. When I saw the Raiders smoking cigars in the locker room, I said, that's the Raiders. That's what the Raiders are supposed to do. They're supposed to do things that outlaws do. You know, that's just kind of the way they go about things. If not, they wouldn't be the Raiders. Take the logo off. They're not the silver and black anymore. We can't do that anymore. But if you're going to be Mr. Nice Guys and all that, that's not the Raiders. Not the Raider way, man. No. Dave Craig, QB back then. Yep. Small hand, fumble a lot, Dave Craig. You are correct, sir. In fact, look it up, Sean. I believe Dave Craig holds the record for most fumbles by a quarterback. if I'm correct, look it up. What quarterback holds the record for most fumbles in a career? I bet you it's Dave Craig. Small hands, started a long time. Wasn't a bad quarterback, by the way. Was a decent quarterback, not a great quarterback or anything like that. Not even a franchise guy, but he was serviceable, but he fumbled a lot. I believe he still owns the record. I know Culpepper was trying to challenge it. Yes, sir.
It says Brett Favre has the most at 166.
Yeah, he played 20 years. So Dave is second?
Hold on, man. I'm trying to find out right now. Dave Craig, right?
Second.
No, third after Warren Moon.
Warren
Moon had 161.
Okay. All right. Well,
and then Dave Craig, and then Kerry Collins.
I knew this for years, but you named two guys that played for 20 freaking years. So I can see why they would be ahead of Dave Craig because it's 20.
Well, the thing is, again, it goes off of games played. Dave Craig only played 213, Warren Moon 208, Brett Favre 302.
Really?
So
Favre, okay, 302. So Warren, wait a minute. Oh, so they're not counting CFL either. Okay, so they're counting NFL.
Yeah, I think just NFL.
Definitely not, because he has the same amount of games as Dave Craig, which I didn't know. I thought he would have more. But I'm leaving out the CFL years.
Yeah, this has 5 less.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Kerry Collins is number 4.
The Carolina Giants quarterback, Kerry Collins?
Yeah, Kerry Collins, yep.
Yeah. He got drafted by the Giants, then went to play for Carolina. Yeah, he was bad. I did not know Kerry Collins was one of the top fumblers of all time. I knew Dave Craig, and I thought he was number 1, but you got me there. That makes sense with those two guys.
It's funny because Elway is 5.
Okay, he ran a lot. Okay.
Yeah, Brady is 6.
Oh, he played a long time. Okay.
Hold on. It just says Manning, and it's red. So I'm guessing it's Eli Manning because it's a red, which is the color of the team. I'm guessing that's the Giants.
Yeah. That's probably, and he played a long time too. He had a nice long career. Eli must have played like 14 years, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, they actually break it down underneath. And then it goes Bledsoe, Esiason, Testaverde, Roethlisberger, Rivers, Breeze, Kitna, Dan Marino, Dan Fouts, Randall Cunningham, and then it just keeps going for a while.
All right. So Dave Craig is 3. There we go. Hope Caleb Williams could handle the media when crying to mom in the stands. Yeah. USC, they it's amazing, right? USC, Miami. I know Texas is kind of trying to make a little bit of a comeback, but they've been in a funk forever. Tennessee, also, I know they're trying to get out of it, but it's in Nebraska. It's amazing how some of these stud programs, like, USC shits the bed all the time. They never do anything, just like UM. It's funny how some of these powerhouse programs that we grew up with, they can't find their way back, dude. They just can't find their way back. When I was young, Tennessee was always a big-time school. Nebraska was a big-time school. Texas was a big-time school. Miami obviously was a big-time school. USC, big-time school. And it's crazy how these schools have all fallen by the wayside. And for years now, dude, they cannot find their way back to being elite again. Scary when you fall off that perch. Alabama was kind of in that funk for a little while too. And then when they got Saban, they got back on track again. Man, tough. So yeah, USC is the same thing. You always see them and they always screw up. Let's see. I really thought Tua would have a Warren Moon comeback game. So many miscues. Yep. Let's see. Jayhawk, you ain't lying. Needs to win big game when the pressure's on. I remember Dave Craig in the Chiefs and Seahawks. Yes, sir. Dave Craig was solid. He was good when he had a running game. Fun fact, he played for a school that doesn't exist anymore, Milton College. Nice nugget there. Juice F5 says, as a Finns fan, the Jets really scare me. They are well coached, and the defense is sick. Let's hope the Dolphins offense can correct mistakes before Black Friday game. You're 1,000%. Those two games are going to be really ugly and hard to win for the Dolphins. The Jets' defense is elite. And it comes at you with depth. They've got a rotation. They can keep people fresh. They have drafted their ass off on that D-line. It's impressive, dude. It's not going to be easy to beat the Jets. I can tell you that for a fact. Okay? Folks, you don't need to be a professional athlete to go where the pros go. The doctors at Baptist Health Orthopedic Care can see you now. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho to request an appointment and get yourself back into the game. So if you have an injury that's keeping you from doing what you love, folks, take charge of your health and get back into the game with the help of the all-pro staff at Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Use that QR code and use it because our family uses it all the time. I'm telling you, it is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. What else do we have? Heat and back in action tonight against the Lakers. I mean, I'm going to watch it, but I don't know if I'm going to look forward to it. You know what I'm saying? The Heat have got me in a position where it's hard for me to trust them. And, man, they got me nervous. I'm worried about stuff falling apart, to be quite honest. Let's see. Ken Helm, Big O Show. Do you think play where Tyreek fumbled should have been either called incomplete or play called dead since Tyreek's motion had stopped? No. It was a fumble. He had possession of it. Ken, he fumbles, so he gets the blame for it. But I got to tell you, what Durham Smythe did on that play was a crime. If I'm the coach, when I get home, I'm sending Durham Smythe with an assistant coach to the stadium, and I'm having him run the stadium steps, both levels, 8 times. And if his legs fall off, then so be it. But I am tired of watching Durham Smythe miss blocks all the time. And there was no excuse. That was a smaller player. You couldn't even handle it. I was so disgusted by Durham Smythe on that play because basically he's the one that caused that play to end up happening. And, I know we have to blame Tyreek, but I got to give Durham Smythe a lot of crap on this one. It was embarrassing. Like, brother, you got one job. Do your job, man. Do your job. And that's where I've seen him miss too many blocks this year that's where I have to lay it on the coach. And you're putting the wrong people. Remember last year in the Buffalo game, he puts Braylon Sanders in the game to run that route, and Tua throws a beautiful bomb for a touchdown. The kid stops. Wrong route. Same thing with Cedric. That's on the coach. You keep putting people in positions where they are failing you, dude. And then that's your wrong assessment. Can I count on Durham Smythe to block? No, I can't. I need somebody else to put there. Can I count on Braylon Sanders to run the route against the Buffalo Bills in an important game? No, I can't. Let me get somebody. Can I count on Cedric Wilson to read it right? No, I can't. Coach deserves a crap ton of the blame for what went on. What has gone on consistently since last year. He makes bad, while he's super smart, he makes some really dumb decisions at times. You were gouging them with Mostert yesterday at the end of that game. How do you not keep running until they stop it? You had your timeouts. You had plenty of time. That wasn't an issue. Don't understand. So we have to look at things for what they are. And Mike McDaniel and Tyreek, all by their lonesome, pretty much lost that game yesterday. And McDaniel has issues that he does not solve. Still making bad decisions, still abandoning the run, still not knowing who to trust. Obviously, you're not coaching them up, just like I blame Mario Cristobal on Saturdays. So as smart as you are, as innovative as you are, you're not actually a great coach game in and game out. You have a great mind, but you have not harnessed that brain of yours to make sure you're consistent and doing all the things that you're supposed to do. So back in the day, I remember Coke had a bottle cap giveaway with NFL player picks underneath the caps with 2-liter bottles. I had like 12 Craigs. He was the common cap. LOL. I miss those style giveaways. Last drive was the same thing that happened last season in the Bills game when McDaniel went away from Mostert as well. Yeah, exactly. Glad you said it, Big O. It makes me sick watching Smythe block. That was the reason the fumble play happened. Hell, I blame him more than Tyreek on that one. You can? You know what? I can't argue with anybody that tells me I blame Smythe more than Tyreek. Can't blame anybody for that. I can't tell you you're wrong. Because you can make a great case for saying, dude, if Smythe blocks, Hill hangs on. Maybe he doesn't gain a lot of yardage. Maybe he gets 10 yards, but there's no fumble for a touchdown. That's nobody can argue that point. If Smythe actually makes a damn block, there's no fumble. And we're playing overtime. So, yeah. Can't argue with that. So, we got a poll question. Who do you blame for the Dolphins' loss versus the Chiefs? McDaniel, 33%. Tyreek, 30%. Tua, 26%. I think you have other as the fourth one, and it says 11%. Big O, why do you think Frank Smith and McDaniel abandoned the run when it seems to be working? Sorry if you just went over it. Norca, I don't know. I would love to figure that out, my brother. But I am definitely not smart enough to know why that happens. I can't figure it because it doesn't make any sense. You know what does make sense? Cutter's Edge Pro. Cutter's Edge Pro makes a lot of sense. William, Mike, all the great people out there. Listen, if you're looking to take your home, your business to the next level, your HOA, condo complex, Cutter's Edge Pro. If you do have current landscaping and you want to upgrade it or you want to maintain it, Cutter's Edge Pro. They do it all throughout South Florida, Dade, Broward, Palm Beach counties. They've got like over 70 trucks. They are the dominating force. Put it this way. If the Dolphins were half as good as Cutter's Edge Pro, they'd be undefeated right now, headed for another Super Bowl. That's what you get from William Quigley and company. It is a well-run company by a man that knows how to get it done. That's why he started with a lawnmower, and now he's got thousands, okay? All right? Now he's got like 70 trucks. You know, it's an enormous company. And it all started in his garage, okay? And Cutter's Edge Pro maintains a level that this is why they're saying is expect excellence. So if we're talking about tree trimming and removals, landscape design, outdoor lighting, irrigation, synthetic turf, which if you own dogs like we do, the synthetic turf is absolutely amazing. Please reach out to them, cuttersedgepro.com. Go to their Instagram page so you can check out some of their work and call them. Tell them that Big O sent you, 954-472-0622. What's your level of confidence this team can go on the road in 25 degrees and win against the Chiefs, Bills, or Cincy? 0. I am done. I am no longer picking them in those kind of games anymore. Now they're going to have to win and show me that they can win. I have no hope for them. Well, not hope. I have no trust in them. I have hope because they have talent. See, the problem, Troy, that I have, and this is why I'm saying now McDaniel is now at a point where he's underachieving. There's more than enough talent to win those games. It's been proven. Lesser teams beat some of these teams. Your teams are constantly unprepared. So Mike McDaniel has to stop underachieving. I know it's hard. It seems crazy to say that, but it's the truth. That's what McDaniel's doing. He's underachieving right now. Hate to say it, but that's what we're dealing with right now, unfortunately. An underachieving coach that is not getting their team prepared. Peter German on Venmo. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo, even a Bitcoin donation, which we love. Peter German says, I agree with you, Orlando. McDaniel gets way too cute with players and plays in the game. He has a real commitment issue to things that work. I think he outthinks himself on a regular basis. Also, he does not show aggressive play calling like he does against the lesser teams. I agree. Can't argue with any of that, Peter. And thank you, as always. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. All right. Oh, wait, where is Bitcoin? Bitcoin's still stuck at 35. David Field says, big fan, Big O. Appreciate all of your insight. Tough loss. McDaniel is coaching like Mickey Mouse. Game was there, and we had a chance to silence doubters. Got to be better moving forward. Let's hope so, man. Let's hope so. But they've got to show me now. McDaniel has to show me that he can prepare his team for these kind of elite games. There's too much failing going on in these moments by him. Matthew Lean. After sleeping on it, we can beat the Chiefs. That was not the case of us losing to a better team. We constantly shot ourselves in the foot. Must fix it. Matthew, thank you for the super chat. Very nice of you, sir. And you are 1,000% right. Can't argue with any of that, my friend. When you're too smart for your own good, that happens sometimes. You do it. I do it. McDaniel certainly does it. Yeah. We all outsmart ourselves at one point or another. You know, we know something that we know what we're doing, whatever walk of life you're in, profession, whatever. And there are those moments where you overthink things and you outsmart yourself. But McDaniel seems to do that a lot. And the part I don't understand is his abandonment of the running game. I just don't understand that. I really cannot comprehend it. You know? It's weird. Really is. Glad KC beef is settled. Now can Hill focus on the team winning instead of himself? Where was Salvon Ahmed yesterday? Mostert was the entire running game. Well, when they did use Ahmed, they screwed up. The Ahmed play is not working out lately. And I'm a Salvon Ahmed guy. He has played well when they've given him chances. But lately, the way McDaniel's been using him, it does not work. I think you need to rewatch it there. It ends up blowing up on him. You know, which totally sucks. By the way, I was mentioning something earlier, but I was going to get into it and I forgot. Not that it's anything that you guys care about, but just in case if she's watching, just want to tell my wife happy 36th anniversary, not wedding. Our wedding anniversary is coming March 18th, our 30th anniversary. But yesterday, November 5th, was our boyfriend-girlfriend anniversary. And so, yes, we still talk about it every year. I don't know if some of you still do that, if you remember it, if you're, whatever. But November 5th was ours. So we were together 6.5 years before we got married. So a half year from now, we'll have our wedding anniversary. But I just want to say, just in case my lovely wife is watching, happy anniversary, sweetheart. Happy 36th anniversary. So there you go. All right. Show up and punch you in the face type of I'm a show up and punch you in the face type person. I won't threaten on the phone or internet. I cringe when Tyreek was taking a shot before the game. Hated it. How does he look now? Never brag. Mike Moynihan says, that's my point, Big O. The running back room outside of Mostert and Chan injured is suspect. I like Chris Brooks. I disagree with you. Wilson has his limitations. I agree with you on that. But he's your fourth and fifth back. Dude, how many people have 4 or 5 backs? Come on, man. Let's it's kind of like complaining about the offensive line now. You're like on your third string guard. What do you want? Eichenberg actually made a couple of decent blocks yesterday. He wasn't perfect. I'm sure he made a few mistakes too. But you're on your third guard, bro. What are we going to do? You're on your second string guard on one side, your third string guard on the other. You've been most of the season on your second string tackle. This team has got some depth at least. It's not easy. Let's see. Brian Diaz, what do you think are some specific things the offense needs to do better to beat elite teams? Brian, clean football. Stop making the mistakes, the penalties that kill big plays. Stop, as a coach, killing yourself by taking yourself out of rhythm and calling plays that don't go with it. You see Mostert yesterday, he's running. And all of a sudden you go to pass plays and the rush is coming at your ass. So they're having success running the ball, but yet Tua doesn't have a lot of time to throw. So you decide all of a sudden to go pass happy? Put players out there that are well-trained. If Durham Smythe is not ready to block, then don't put him in that position. And if Cedric Wilson doesn't understand what a hot read is, don't put him out there. Just like last year, Braylon Sanders against the Bills. You put a youngin who had no business being in that position, and that's why he screwed the pooch. You were killing the Green Bay Packers and the Bills last year with 7 and 9 yards a carry, and you gave up on the run. I mean, these are the things. This is all habitual. This is not something that is now. No. This is for 2 straight years now. I know, a season and a half. Let's call it like it is. For a season and a half, he has the same problems, and he has not corrected them. So if you want to beat the elite teams, you need to be better coached, and you need to make much better decisions. That's it. That's how you win. Losses completely on the offense as a whole. We can sit here and point fingers, but was not good enough collectively. Tua included in my book. If he does not fumble and scores, everything is forgotten. That's right. Any chance they move to Liam to set? No way, dude. No. Connor is really good at center. He is a monster. Do not move him. And he only had one kind of bad snap yesterday, and I put it more on Tua. That wasn't that bad of a snap. That was Tua that wasn't paying attention, and he needs to pay attention, and he needs to get it done. That wasn't that bad. I've seen way worse snaps, and he's handled them. So I'm not even going to kill Connor on that one. And his blocking is beastly, dude. Beastly. Big O, when did he go back to the run in key situations? He keeps using a non-productive Ahmed. Enough already, man. I think he should give up on the play calling to somebody else who's qualified. I doubt that's going to happen, but he needs to be much better, my friend. The head coach is responsible for putting players in positions to be successful. If Smythe can't move or adjust to block on the perimeter, maybe that's not on Tua or Tyreek's fault. Can't argue with you. I will not argue with anybody that wants to blame it on Smythe. I will not. Because if you watch that block, that was disgusting. Okay? Like, you shouldn't even consider yourself a professional football player if you can't make that block against a smaller player. Just gross. Seriously. The only reason I mentioned that is because of our guard issue. Yeah, no, I get that. I totally understand, but I'm not moving Connor. Not moving him. Yeah, Big O, they just don't seem prepared for the big moments. That's what it looks like. Just like the University of Miami, right? Same shit. Mario does a terrible job. He's not a good X's and O's coach. The difference is McDaniel is. He's just got to tweak it a little bit, you know? Mario hasn't shown me anything at all, ever. I've never seen anything so far with him here that tells me he's this incredible X's and O's guy on game day. I have seen a very, 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 very mediocre game day coach in Mario Cristobal. Very mediocre. I could not be more disappointed. He's the coach that has disappointed me the most on how poor he is on game day. Like, I knew he had a conservative style, which I don't like, but I like him personally, and I like a lot of his traits. But wow. If it doesn't change, like I told you before, if it doesn't change and you're the administration, this is what's going to happen. You wait till years 4 and 5, one of those two. He's loaded up the program with a whole bunch of players because he's going to recruit. There's no doubt he's going to get recruits. And then once you've got the program loaded and you've fixed all the amenities and you got your 100-yard field in your indoor practice facility, everything's done. Okay, new weight room, everything. All the amenities are finally done, and he has loaded it up for 5 years. That's when you fire his ass. If he continues on this path, then you fire his ass 5 years in. That way you don't have to pay too much left of his contract. And then you go out and get the guy that can put you over the top. But you're stuck with Mario for a couple of years. But the good thing is he'll continue to recruit and he'll load it up. And then you go find the guy that really is an X's and O's guy on a daily basis and can win on Saturdays and outsmart the opponent. That's what I think will happen with Mario if he does not turn the corner and prove that he can coach. Because right now, I just see a rah-rah guy. I see a conservative, run-oriented type coach. I don't see a guy that's aggressive, and I don't see a guy that's a difference maker. Sorry. Recruiter, yeah. Human being, yeah. Man, yeah. Hard worker, hell yeah. But he's missing the main ingredient. The main ingredient. Michael Vallardes, thank you, sir. Big O, let me get a silver lining on this loss. The defense, baby. The defense played elite yesterday. if I tell you you're limiting Kelsey to 14 yards, Mahomes will not score a point in the second half, and you're limiting him to 14 points, you're going to tell me, oh, dude, the Dolphins kicked their ass. They won by how much, 10, 20? No, they lost. What? Mahomes passed for 185 yards, shut down the second half. Kelsey only got 14 yards, and they lost? You wouldn't believe me. You wouldn't believe me. So the fact that, and by the way, I'm sorry, did they? Hey, Sean, was Jalen Ramsey following Kelsey around all over the place? Oh, okay. Well, the media really got that one right, huh? Anyway, defense, dude, that's your silver lining, my brother. That's a beautiful silver lining. You should have won that game. Anybody that does that to the Chiefs, you're supposed to win that game every single time. If you did what you did on defense, the Bills beat the Chiefs. If you did what the Dolphins did to the Chiefs, right? The Cincinnati Bengals win that game. If your defense does what it did to Kansas City, the Eagles win that game. The Niners win that game. Okay? The big boy teams in this league, they all win that game with the Dolphins' performance on defense. That is a golden lining, not even silver. That was a beautiful performance yesterday by that defense. They did everything to win the game. The offense didn't score enough and gave away the 7 points to lose the game. So you want a silver lining, I'll give you a gold standard. You give me that defense, and boy, you got a shot to win every single week. But you better have an offensive coach that actually knows what the hell he's doing. And right now, our guy, not that good right now. Not that good. Dan B says, Big O, you are absolutely correct. The D played out of their ass. They did their job. Hell yeah. Jayhawk says, I was wrong about Vic. I thought his stubbornness wouldn't double on Kelsey, but he did. Kudos to Vic. Yeah, he bracketed him with different people depending on where he was. So the bracket, was handled by different people in different parts of the defense. So it was they did a marvelous job, dude. Marvelous job. And some people are going to look at that and say, hey, we got to do what they did to Travis Kelsey. Yes, sir.
And I think one of the things that they did, at least when I went back and looked through some of the film, was Bradley Chubb. Anytime he was close to the line, was nailing him off the line, just making sure it disrupted a little bit of that timing, and it helped out a lot.
Yeah. Cater got physical with him too. Yeah. Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was fun. It was fun to watch. Anybody that played him played physical with him at the line, and that was good. But Chubb, dude, Chubb's turned the corner. He's played well, man. And Jalen Phillips is turning the corner. Got another sack, so that's good to see. You want a silver lining? The defense, baby. Defense. That was awesome to watch. I was impressed with the defense. They stepped up. Offense let us down, but the defense was absolutely fantastic. I've been saying for 9 weeks with Howard and Ramsey that Miami's defense would be totally different. Yesterday, they were able to do a lot more, Lou. They were really effective. They were terrific against the run, too. Pacheco got some yards, but it wasn't something that they could dominate on. They didn't allow him to dominate through the air or the ground. It's fantastic. A lot of people in the chat room were calling for Fangio to be replaced. It takes a little time. Yeah, it's crazy to replace Fangio. Come on. You knew it would get better. Plus you have to see them healthy. But there's no doubt it was crappy defense. That you could criticize them, but to get rid of them, no, I'm not doing that. Not doing that. Too much talent on this roster to be losing to anybody, and the blame falls 100% on McDaniel. It has to be. EJ Barro,
McD has adopted the country club manager style. He won't confront anyone, wants to be everybody's friend, and won't instill discipline. Well, the instill discipline part he needs to prove, but he will lay into guys. I've been told he will lay into them. Yeah, but it's one of those where he tries to reach you first, and then once he's repeated it a couple times, then he has all the green light to then rip into you. So it's just one of those kind of things. It's not just rip into you the second you screw up. So it's kind of one of those, you earn the rip job, in other words, with him. That's kind of what I've been told. It's not like he goes off the cuff on everybody for anything at any little moment. Somebody goes offline in practice, offside. Hey, moron, what the hell are you? No, that's not who he is. Now, if you did it a couple times and then they're coaching you up and then they go and show you film and then you do it again and again, then that's when you're going to draw his ire. That's what I'm told. So it's kind of like, hey, didn't we talk about this? Like, what the hell are you doing? Didn't you tell me you're going to stop? And then it's kind of like he corners you. And you already, like, he gave you the understanding. He then gave you the advice or the coaching or whatever. And then if you didn't take it then that's when you could get ripped. So he does it, but he just doesn't. It's one of those, you got to earn it. It's got to be special. Put it that way. Kansas City's offense hasn't been special. Their offense has been, hey, listen, I am going to give the Dolphins credit. They played their asses off yesterday on defense. They played against a Hall of Fame quarterback, a multiple Super Bowl winning quarterback, and a first ballot Hall of Fame tight end. Nobody shuts down Kelsey for 14 yards, my brother. So I am not downplaying that. Okay. Big O, I don't agree with all your McDaniel criticism. However, I do agree with a chat room criticism that sometimes he needs to be tough, and we wonder if that's the case. Fair criticism. Well, you'll find out as time goes on. If the mistakes continue, you will know that he's not. What happened with tight end Julian Hill? He's made mistakes. So, it's like you probably shouldn't have trusted Cedric Wilson in that moment, like they don't trust Julian Hill. Well, maybe you better start learning not to trust Durham Smythe also. That's what's going on. The offense crapped the bed yesterday. The largest dump was taken by Tyreek Hill. Second largest turd was taken by Durham Smythe. And the third largest turd was taken by our head coach. I have zero issues with that one right there. And Lenny, that was well designed by your side there. I love that, dude. Absolutely love that. That was good right there. Let me tell you about Sloman's Home Shield. And folks, they've been protecting Americans for over 100 years. So they've been at it for a while. Sean Stanley has Sloman's at home. I have Sloman's protecting my home, folks. And all you got to do is call 1-800-ALARM-ME, and we're going to give you a free doorbell camera. That's right, folks. When you use our professional installation and our low-cost central station monitoring, you're also going to get an LED touchscreen pad, a motion detector, 3-arm doors, and a backup battery. You're going to love it. And that doorbell camera you're going to love because it tells you who's at the door. And if you're watching something and you don't want to go to the door and then you see somebody selling, now you know you don't have to get up. I hate having to get up and go and oh, my God, I don't want to answer this door or whatever. So with the doorbell camera, there you go. And if you have food delivered, you can tell them to leave it there. If you don't want to have any contact with the person, then you can go get it. Or if you're driving to your house and the food gets there before you do, you can tell the person on the camera phone, hey, leave the food there. I'll be there in a minute. Thank you. I mean, the doorbell camera is so convenient. 1-800-ALARM-ME and tell them that Big O sent you. Also, Sloman's keeps Americans warm. We're in 14 different states. If you're using heating oil, you know what you use a month. Well, they sell it and they provide it. and they give it at a fixed price, which will save you hundreds in the long run, folks. So please call Sloman's if you're looking for heating oil. Right now, we're getting into the colder months. 1-866-OIL-DEAL. That's 1-866-OIL-DEAL, and tell them that Big O sent you. All right. Okay, folks, let's see. Dolphins had a lot of tough games coming up against some tough defenses. Yes. Lofi says talent on offense, wide receiver elite, tight end fail, O-line below average, even healthy, running backs above average. Lofi, they can't be below average on the O-line when you lead in passing and running. That doesn't make any sense. When you're the number one passing team and the number one running team, now the last couple of weeks here with these injuries mounting, maybe it's gotten, those numbers have gone down a little bit. But overall, most of the season, you lead the league in rushing. No. Sorry. Your left tackle was out, and your backup did a marvelous job. Sorry, dude. No. The offensive line concerns and criticisms and all of that has to be tempered like big time. This is the best offensive line play you've had in decades. This is not bad offense. I've seen bad offensive line play. In 2019, I saw really bad offensive line play. I saw Tua running for his life on every down. Tua doesn't run for his life on every down anymore. So I disagree with you there. Big O, I think McDaniels tends to cater the plays to too much to prove Tua's an MVP type of player and combine with Tyreek's 2,000 yards receiving production too, instead of sticking with what works. I mean, you might be right. Definitely wrong to do that, but you might be right. Life could be worse. You could be a Panthers fan looking for win number 2. This is true. This is true. Different coaching styles work as king or as king as it gets through to the player. Walsh used to rip coaches, and that would motivate the players to play better for his coach. McDaniel has his own style. Yes, you are correct. There's no right way or wrong way to do it, but you do have to get it better. All right, it is time to wrap it up. We appreciate all of you out there, as always. If you sent in a super chat, thank you. Cash App or Venmo anytime. Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. You can send in a Bitcoin donation. Yes, Sean Stanley, sir.
Just wanted to give the poll: McDaniel 51%, Tyreek 21%, Tua 17%, other got 11%.
I wonder what would have happened if you would have put Smythe in there. That would have been interesting. See how much votes he would have taken in the process. All right. Thanks to Sean Stanley, the best in the business. We will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place, same bat channel.